To be almost everybody's favorite announcement, which was the gun goose. That was kind of fun. We knew we'd have a good reception, but we didn't anticipate quite how positive the reception would be.
What's better than a mongoose? A mongoose with guns.
Yep. Nice. Yeah.
It's just absolute home run. It's probably some of the best fun I've ever had in Halo, and that's a pretty major statement because I've had a lot of fun in Halo.
The art treatment and everything that Max and his team at Certain Affinity have been doing has really been true to the original. Just keeping it updated and adding all of this, cool new features and awesome skyboxes. They knew that it was great when it launched 10 years ago. They didn't want to change that.
There's generally a lot of work involved with an anniversary edition. There's a lot of people who are attached to the sound of Halo, myself included. I really like the sounds that they did in the original, but I feel like they can be touched up and modernized and brought into a higher fidelity for the game environment.
I think some of the best challenge I have found in this is knowing that the fans are so big on this game and in trying to find new tone and new texture, but still simulate the old feel. I'm going through a bit of a detective process, so I'm listening to the old sounds. We have them broken down as small bits as we can, and then I have to find all the different ingredients that might be in there that I can re-simulate to sound similar, but to be a little brighter, better sound quality. In starting with larger characters, we try to build a base, of course, to get that resonated sound. How do we get the weight? How do we make it sound heavy? We'll play it. It's like, oh, it sounds really big. It's got good energy. Missing the metal. So then we'll find the right metallic tone, and then we'll re-perform it the same way with the new flavor. And we play those two together. It's like, all right, sounding big, sounding metallic. What's missing now? Some body movement. Now we got to find a new texture. Maybe it's leather, maybe it's skin. And then that would be like a third layer, and then continue to play it until we start hearing all of the different layers. And so we could end up with 6 or 8 different sounds for one movement in a character.
So one of the cool things that we ended up recording this time around, which is totally experimental, were tuning forks. And we thought that would go really well with the energy sword, but it needed a little bit more. The energy sword is this sleek, sort of elegant weapon, but it's also a killing machine. So we actually bought some dry ice, and we were thinking, hey, what might sound good with this dry ice? And we just started randomly dropping objects on it. What we really thought was cool was when we dropped ball bearings on it. So we ended up using the ball bearings on the dry ice and the sizzling and the burning and the screaming. And what we did is we had the engineer room actually feed that back to us through a loudspeaker in the Foley room. And we then set up a microphone, and we actually made the sword motion from the game, and that allowed us to capture more of a natural and sort of unique sound.
Here is what shipped in the game 10 years ago. We wanted something with a little more body, we wanted something with a little more musicality, and we wanted something with more power. Here's kind of the direction we're going now.
We decided to go out and capture new source material this time around. Obviously, you can't go out and record a battle rifle. You can go out and record things that are similar to it. But what we wanted to do is kind of choose weapons that had unique characteristics. So for example, the Thompson machine gun. It's got a unique clack, 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 clack sort of sound to it. And that's a very unique characteristic that we wanted to kind of carry over into some of the newer weapons. Each gun kind of felt different. The M1 Garand obviously is the big, beastly 30-06 large caliber gun. Really packs a punch, you can really feel it in your chest. And then there's the silent submachine gun, the MP5, that really has a unique sort of ka-thwack sound. You let it fly and then you hear the thump down range. It's pretty cool.
My personal shotgun is the shotgun in Halo 2 Anniversary. I completely forgot about that, but that was a fun day.
The terminal started in Halo 3. They had little Easter eggs where if you found a little data pad, it would have a text document that you could read to get deeper into the story. And then they expanded that with Halo 3 ODST, but Halo 1 Anniversary was when we really stepped it up, hired the sequence group to come in, do all the painterly style terminals. So that was a new addition for Halo 1 Anniversary, and then we decided to do it again in Halo 2.
Ready, Reclaimer. This is how my story begins.
We kind of sized up like, okay, so what are the things that fans have always wanted to know more about? It's this relationship between the prophets and the elites, this situation in the Covenant, kind of the big lie, really, that the prophets have held over the rest of the Covenant for who knows how long, that leads to the events of Halo 2, the breaking of the Covenant, the war between the elites and the brutes and the prophets, and what role does the Arbiter play in all of this? So that's a question fans have been asking for a long time. Thinking towards the future, what do we think fans will want to know more about? A year or two from now, is we're pretty sure they're going to want to know a lot more about Spartan Locke, or Agent Locke as we meet him.
Pursuant to Office of ONI Retrieval and Acquisitions Inquiry of 26 September 2552, the following is a target profile of Thel Vadami, Supreme Commander of the Covenant Fleet of Particular Justice.
The terminals form a connective tissue for this world, and we're getting a chance again to realize this in a much more vibrant, affected, pointed way that users would appreciate.
A lot of our stories within the Halo terminals are additional narrative, their backstory. And a lot of it is kind of exploration even further than some of the novels. And so we're saying, okay, well, this is one shot where, post the Halo ring exploding, and, does this tie into this novel, and does this make sense for this 1-2 second shot? Because it's got to fit the entire Halo universe, and that's a big challenge.
Halo has had a very definitive style from day one, and it's evolving over time and keeps growing and growing. But one of the things that's unique about what Sequence brings to it is that it has its own style. It's much more of a painterly look to it, and it makes it feel like it's a graphic piece versus a 3D piece.
To see what Sequence has done from a visual standpoint it's breathtaking. The terminals that I worked on, they did some amazing stuff with High Charity's interiors. They did some incredible stuff with worlds that we haven't talked about yet, and I think fans are really, really going to get a kick out of that.